Hey there. See some art over here. Can't see me. Oh, let's add Bigby into this. Welcome, Bigby.
Hey, I'm in my truck, so hey.
Well, that's crazy. You know what? Can you hang out for a second? I need to go grab my headphones because for whatever reason I can't hear you.
Okay. Are we live? I didn't ask. Guess I didn't. Oh, we are live. Hey, how's everybody doing today? Oh, and now I gotta go. So, tell Trav goodbye.
All right. Oh, now I can hear. Okay, so Bigby was on. He dropped. Not a big deal. Okay, guys. Well, welcome to the stream. Sorry that was a little bit late. Sorry I had to reschedule as well. We had some honeydew list items that had to be taken care of this morning. We have a cleaner that comes out and does some deep cleaning for us, and so they were coming out today, and I didn't realize that. And my wife actually wanted me to measure some a piece of furniture for that she's selling. So I needed to get all that done. So I took that time to do it, and I lost Brian. That's a bummer. Okay, well anyway, I'm going to jump over to the comments, see if anybody's in here. So it looks like nobody's on right now, but it's not a big deal. If you can't watch it now, that's totally fine. If you haven't been on my channel before or you're new to the channel, feel free to please like and subscribe. Also, check out some of the work, the videos I've been doing. I've been doing some Jack Kirby videos, as well as my daughter did a video, decided to do a video yesterday. I'm going to move this camera closer to the comic book and adjust that just a bit so we can see it. All right. So anyway, she did a video. She had to. Not a problem, Bigby. Not a problem. So anyway, so just wanted to let you all know that she did this awesome video, and she created the whole thing. She wrote a script for it, all this stuff, and then she's like, "Dad, can you do Starscream's voice?" And I'm like, "I don't think so." So I tried to find out if I had that opportunity, and totally okay, Bigby. So I went out there and I was like, okay, hey, I was like, okay, so let's go find a Starscream voice, emulator. And so I found an emulator. We put in her script in the emulator, and it just didn't sound right. So she's like, "Are you sure you can't do it, Dad? Are you sure?" And I'm like, okay, well, let's try. So you'll see, if you happen to go on the video and you happen to and watch it and see on there, she actually goes on the video and does this whole. She went in there and made a comment. Hey, what was the best part about it was watching you try to get Starscream's voice by just saying Megatron over and over again. So it's like I practiced the way Starscream says Megatron to get Starscream's voice. I think the only part in the whole video that didn't work out was there was this scene where I'm at the end of halfway through the video, well, almost to the end of the video, where I say this is the end of my presentation. Probably the only clunky part of the script too. But it sounds more like Starscream is a cowboy or from the South. Starscream from the South. Well, I've now completed my presentation, but not, Southern gentleman, but in Starscream's voice, which I'm not going to do right now because that would totally, I almost have to yell to do it because it's the only way to get that angry voice. Well, so basically what I'm going to do today is I wanted to do New Comic Book Day because I have 3 weeks worth of new comic books that I hadn't rolled out to anybody over the last few weeks because just time and lots of stuff going on. I had trip to a trip with some that I did where I run a camp that I'm part for my church, and I had that, and it's a boys camp where we go kind of Boy Scout it up, and you're out in the woods, and we then go to a cave, and we do all these fun stuff, and it's just pretty awesome. Anyway, so I was doing that, and then I did, and then I just crazy work week, and finally I went to the shop on Tuesday. I don't know if most of you know this, but Tuesdays, if you have a subscription box or a pull list, as some people call it, at a comic shop, comics come in earlier than previously. It used to be they all came in like the day before. Brian can kind of attest to this if he's in the chat there. But he can attest to it. And by the way, anybody who wants to join the stream to talk about comics, I'll go ahead and post the link in the stream here for you guys so you guys can see it. And you can just join. I'm not gonna, if I don't know you, introduce yourself first and say, hey, can I join? I'd love to talk about the new comics that came out, or I just want to talk about my love of comics. I did actually read a chunk of comics before the stream, just because, not right before the stream, but over the last 24 hours, because I wanted to I wanted to have some fresh stuff in my head. And plus there's some comics that I always read every time I come into it, every time I do it. So let me go ahead and post the link in here for the stream if anybody wants to join and jump on and talk. Here we go. It is going up in the stream. There it is. It's there for you if you come in and you want to join. Anyway, so let's go ahead and let's get to some of the comics. I'm going to go ahead and change my view to, let's shift to this one, but let's make this one the primary and then go to, I'll just do solo layout. Anyway, or actually, no, I want to do it this way. So we'll go ahead like this. And I want to make this one the primary. How do I make this one the primary? This is always the fun part, right? You're like, I'm in StreamYard and I'm going to do stuff. So let's see here. Okay, I guess solo layout is the only way to go. Oh no, it can't be. It cannot be. Picture in picture, picture in picture, picture in picture. Nope. Okay. All right, here we go. So, new comic books. We're going to go ahead and start off with the Marvel stuff, and I'm going to start off actually specifically with the Star Wars stuff. So, if you're into Star Wars, this is your jam, man. So, first things first, we have Inquisitors #1. I have not read this book yet, but it looks interesting. It's an actual new story, so it's not something retelling from a different perspective. Much like, unlike the Ahsoka story, which is actually a retelling of the television show. So that it's another one of those books that I totally love and enjoy. Will enjoy. I love David Nakayama's cover. Plus, I have a few other covers coming from a different venue. I got the giant size Deadpool #1. This is the facsimile Deadpool #1. Now I have a foil of this coming, but I didn't get the really cool Deadpool facsimile cover with them in the background with the blood that's spilt out that has it's such a cool cover that's spilt out and has it just pooling around and says Deadpool and his name's in the blood, and it's pretty cool. And then I got the facsimile of Godzilla #1 because Marvel's got this is pretty cool because and what's interesting is they get to put out Godzilla, DC gets to put out Godzilla, movies get to be made about Godzilla because Godzilla is now old enough that anybody can use Godzilla, just like anybody can use Dracula and anybody can use any of the monsters from the monster movies because they're all outside of their licensing. Anyway, now we have the Secret Wars facsimile that came out this week, or it came out last week. Secret Wars #7. I'm building a run of these in foils that I get from a different vendor. Here is Amazing Spider-Man 257 Secret Wars facsimile. So more of the black suit Spider-Man. that came out. Here is Captain America number 10. Great cover. J. Michael Straczynski writing. I read the very first issue of this series, and it was just a new take on Captain America, and it was really cool. I loved it. It was a lot of fun. Amazing. So here's a sad tale. Amazing Spider-Man is not grabbing me anymore. The storyline by Zeb Wells is just not very. I hate to say it. It's just not doing. It's not doing me any. Not doing any joy for me. I'm just not a big fan. And being a big fan of Spider-Man and not being a big fan of the new story, it just really it makes me sad. Plus that it comes out almost weekly. It's just a bear. So this is not a facsimile, but an homage to ASM 300, right? So and then with the Goblin on the cover, and that's Spider Goblin. If you didn't recognize that, he's got the Spider-Man suit on, but the Goblin part of it. Then we have another Spider Goblin cover for the next issue. That one came out this week, and then we also got the Amazing Spider-Man Infinity Watch annual that came out this week. Again, I might actually collect all the annuals this year, just because the Infinity Watch storyline might be interesting and might be going somewhere. Plus, there was a really cool Thanos one that came out a few weeks ago. Spider-Boy number 9, which has kind of a multiversal Spider-Man cover going on there. So you see all the different spiders from different universes. Spider-Man is up there in the corner there. And then, of course, Spider-Punk, regular Spider-Man from the 60s universe, Peter Porker. Of course, there is our what a lot of people call the nemesis of Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2099, but he's not really a nemesis. And in the movies, they use him a different way than they normally use him. And then Madam Web, or not Madam Web, but she is Madam Web now, but she's not the Madam Web that was the Madam Web. Anyway, and that's also written by Dan Slott. And that actually story, I don't know, people might not understand this, but Spider-Boy has a better Spider-Man story than Spider-Man does. And it's a lot of fun, and it's really good, as well as the Superior Spider-Man storyline that's been coming out too. I mean, it's more about Doc Ock and his connection, not just to Spider-Man, but his whole connection to just what it means to be a villain or a hero or an anti-hero in a way, because as he was Spider-Man, he became kind of an anti-hero, and it is kind of after the cloning. He took a clone of Peter Parker, and then they were able to change the DNA to be Doc Ock again, and so then he was not Peter Parker anymore, and so he is Doc Ock again, and so there was this story was interesting because it was all about trying to save the love of his life, who then showed that he wasn't, he showed his true colors. So anyway, then we have Miles Morales Spider-Man, which, Cody Ziegler's story is pretty good. I'm just not into this Blood Hunt storyline. I don't know why. I know everybody loves it. They think it's the bomb. I have all the issues. I have all the Red Band issues, for that matter, and I still haven't even cracked them yet. They're still in their poly bags. They're still just waiting. And I'm not sure I'm going to. I just don't know. However, I've picked up Spider-Man Reign 1 through 4, the original series by Carrie Andrews. And Carrie Andrews is by far one of my favorite artists of all time. On top of that, his writing is really superb. He wrote a great issue called Spooky Spider in the Edge of Spider-Verse series that was just recently out. So his issue 1 of Spider-Man Reign came out this week. Then we have Kid Venom, the Enoch Lee cover. I'm going to see here. I don't know. This foil you guys might not be able to see the foil very well. So we'll see what we can do. Oh yeah, maybe we do see it's pretty foily. Pretty foily. Okay, so yeah, it's not going to go on the rack though. So let's move some books. I love this concept, this idea, this Kid Venom storyline. I mean, I know it came out a long time ago in a different realm, but here's the interesting thing, right? So the Marvel decided to allow a creator like Carrie Andrews is doing with Spider-Man, right? To come in and create their own story around this character. It's all written and drawn by the same artist and writer, and he's done all the work on it. I mean, I was just going through some back issue books. If you can see behind me, well, right now behind me is a bunch of art, but you can't see that behind me. But I have a whole bunch of comics, and I pulled out the Kid Venom Zero. Anyway, so here is the Jason. Jason, I can't think of his name. Well, anyway, it's that negative space variant, which is awesome. Totally amazingly awesome. Next I have up for you is, this is the wraparound cover Doom #2. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take it out of its bag and board here because it's cool. It's a wraparound cover, and you can't see the wraparound cover if I leave it in the bag. So there's the front of it, right? Right there's the front. It's a great book. And then the back is more characters. And I mean, it calls it out as a second printing right there too. But this is just a great piece of art. I love this cover. I have to get some more clear backer board so I can put this in a clear backer board because wow, I want this one up. It's pretty, and it's hot right now. Everybody wants it. It's going for, it's funny. I can go to the comic shop. I could probably buy 10 more of them if I wanted to, because they're there, right? So go to your local comic shop, pick up a copy of Doom #1. If you didn't get a chance to read it when it first came out, read it now because it is a fantastic story by Jonathan Hickman, right? So what's really cool about this storyline with Jonathan Hickman is it's a kind of a continuation to the storyline that was going on that he did with Secret Wars and the whole everything with the Fantastic Four and everything. His storyline, which my gosh, what a great storyline. Okay, I also picked up this week the final, or no, this was last week, I think. It's the final issue of Wolverine Madripoor Knights. This is a really cool cover by Philip Tan. It homages 252, and what's great about it is the story that's going on in that story is that issue, that what's going on in 252. We have this great Ron Lim cover of The Life of Wolverine. I have not read this yet, but I figured I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot and read it and see what it's like. It's supposed to be telling the chronological story of Wolverine all the way through. I did read this. And I'm going to tell you, after reading all of it, I mean, literally going through and having to figure out what was the stuff I needed to read for Fall of X, Rise of Powers of X, I have to say this book did not disappoint in coming up with an interesting story and an interesting tale and interesting characters to hear and see where they were going. I find it interesting that we also have two psychics in this team. I mean, I know that's not unusual. But who's not on the cover? No, I think everybody's on the cover there. But so this is brilliant. This story is great. The Stegman art in it is superb, and I want to call this out because the colorist in this also. You don't normally call out colorists in comic books, man, but I'll tell you, the colorist in this one is really, really brilliant. It's beautiful on the inside. I mean, it's beautiful on the cover, but there are spots where they're doing Beast, the way they did Beast's fur and skin with the color and the art just is tasty, very tasty. And this is the Beast that we had at the end of the storyline. I don't know if you haven't read the storyline. I guess this would be a spoiler. So spoiler moment. I'm going to give you like 5 seconds to plug your ears. So 3, 4, 5, since none of you really are watching right at the moment, so you'll catch this in the rewind. However, we got a new Beast, and the Beast was set with memories from way back when he was part of the Avengers. So not Beast of now, the Beast of then is the cuddly friendly Beast who's missed everything that's gone on in Krakoa. And the other Beast is gone from at this moment in time. I don't know what happened to him. We lost him. So anyway, so let's go ahead and pull this pile off. All right. This is a cover that everybody's looking for. Also, it is also there is also a 1 in 100 virgin variant of this cover that everybody wants. This is the J. Scott Campbell cover. It is hot. I bought 2 because it's so hot. It is great. It's like probably one of the best Campbell covers I've seen in a long time. I like what he did with the X in the background where you can see the different characters up in the reflection. I think it's actually her in the reflection twice, which is pretty awesome. But great Psylocke or Quanian. I can't think of her name. I can't say her name, actually. I know what her name is, but it is. So anyway, that is that cover. Now, another book I also read and read almost every time it comes exactly as it comes out, Ultimate Spider-Man #6. Now, where Amazing Spider-Man is failing. Amazing Spider-Man is failing and has lost a lot of love from me. This book continues to grow every time I read it. It is that good every time. And not only is it that good every time, the next part of the story that he tells is so dynamic, and yet it could be them sitting around a table, and you really like issue 4. They for almost the whole issue, they're talking around a table. It's crazy, but it works, and it's so well written that you're intrigued, you're pulled in, you're sucked in, and it's fantastic. Thanks, Richard. Welcome to the show, man. And I look forward to you watching in the rewind, and you catch it later. That's great. So thanks for coming in. I want you to know that I saw you. So here we go with Ultimate Black Panther. Here's another book that's really good. Hill is knocking it out of the park. The art is just as good as the other art in the other parts of the story. And man, I'll tell you, look at just this idea of the kind of the new gods, the Moon Knight, the other, all this coming in and kind of keeping it very Africa centric. The story is very good and very interesting and pretty phenomenal, and I'm totally down with that. And it really, really, really works. And I read that. It's also been read. It's I'm really looking forward to it. And the final book that I read today, well, I mean, not the final book I read, but the final book I'm going to share. No, not the final book I'm sharing. I read Ultimates #2. Now, this book is interesting. I mean, we have a storyline where we're now this is what's happening is that Iron Man here has, if you haven't read any of the Ultimates, another spoiler alert, everyone. So here it comes. Iron Man essentially is Iron Man and Kang together, but it is Tony Stark. So, and they went back in time, and they're now trying to get heroes to come up and fight the evils that are coming against the stuff that's going on in their world. So, and so that is what's going on there. So let's move on from Marvel now and go into our independent books. And 1 second here. So 1 second. The cleaner's vacuuming, so I'm gonna kind of close the door so we get a little less sound off of that. All right. Anyway, back to the covers of our independent books. Grimm number 18 came out. Now, I've actually stayed with this series almost the whole time it's been coming out. I've been reading it. I'm about 6 issues behind, but it's been good. It's an interesting story, about a character who is the daughter of the Grim Reaper, and it's really really fun and phenomenal. I really enjoy it. But I have not read for I'm still, like I said, I'm about 6 issues behind. I think issue 12 is the last one I read. However, a book that I read every time that comes out, Void Rivals by Robert Kirkman. Okay, here's the Energon universe at its inception. This story is amazingly good. And it is tied to Transformers. It's going to be tied to G.I. Joe. It's going to be tied to all the stuff in the Energon universe. And I'm really looking forward to how that works out. Speaking of Transformers, I read this issue as well. Daniel Warren Johnson is really absolutely knocking this completely out of the park. There is I can't even describe. This story is the best Transformer story of all time that I've ever read and watched. And of course, as you read this issue, it brings you back to something that we've seen before in the Transformer story. But if it's an homage to the original G1 stuff, it's better than the original G1 stuff. There's consequences and actions and things like that are just phenomenal. And the characters all have great personality and are wonderful to follow. This is cover A. That was cover B. Cover A is pretty awesome too, and we get to see other characters from Cybertron. This is the 1 in 10 variant of the covers. This is I don't think that's not Skywarp. I want to say that's like I can't think of the character, but the tank helicopter dude. Anyway, I think that's who that is. But it's massive and big and giant, and this is a part of a connecting cover set that goes all the way back to issue 1. Here we go with so this came out last week. This is G.I. Joe number 307. This is what got me into G.I. Joe. This is what made me want to collect a run of G.I. Joe right here. This book you're looking at right there. Well, not 307, but 301 did. And I started picking up other issues of it. And I got my Grail. I got my G.I. Joe 1 a couple months ago. It was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome get, too. Also, book came out a couple weeks ago was Destro number 1. And that was a fun ride. Also read this book. I really enjoy what's going on here. We're getting a character. We get Destro. He's already the arms dealer for Mars and all that stuff, and it's pretty freaking phenomenal. And then Scarlet number 2 came out. Okay, too much, not enough space there. But Scarlet number 2 came out, and wow, we're talking another really brilliant, great story. Kelly Thompson is kicking butt with it and giving us a great characterization of Scarlet and how she's tied to the Azakagi and everything. It's really awesome. I was glad to see that we got Radiant Black back again. Part 8, issue 29 of Radiant Black is now back. And then we got the next issue of Rogue Sun, which also a part of the same massive universe. By the way, this is another great universe, great storyline. Higgins is doing a great job of building a universe with superheroes and a multiverse with superheroes, because they're not all in the same universe. And Rogue Sun is another one of those books in that same universe, and great story, really fun to watch, really fun to read. I really love that book. But here's the book that I was going to read right before we came on, because Jim Zub, who was doing Conan for Marvel, continued to do Conan when it moved to Titan. And I'm telling you, man, this story is just awesome. It is everything you want Conan to be and more. And it's pretty freaking phenomenal. So, but that leads us off of independent books, and we now will move over to our DC books. So I'm collecting some of the DC books. I'm a little bit behind in my reading on DC stuff because there's so much to read out there. Superman number 15, House of Brainiac number 6. This storyline looks very interesting. I'm looking forward to reading it. But just this Superman story is one of the most refreshing Superman stories I've ever read. When I read the first 6 issues, just could not stop reading them. And the only thing that stopped me from reading them was the nightmare storyline with that where, yeah. Anyway, that which was written by Williamson too, so it was really good. Tom King's Wonder Woman is pretty awesome. I'm a little bit behind on this one as well, but it's really good. So I've got 2 Batman issues because Batman came out. I have 3 Batman issues technically. Batman 149. Then we have Batman 150, and what this is pretty cool. I mean, I didn't get the Absolute Power stuff from the comic shop because they were out and I didn't have any there. But I did pick up a couple of the Absolute Power books from another vendor. But this is Absolute Power tie-in, Batman 150. There's like 4 really cool Batman 150 variants for this. It's just pretty amazing. I really have enjoyed Chip Zdarsky's storyline. It's been really good. He's really kept an amazing story going, and it's been a lot of fun. And then Batman and Robin. I wasn't sure about this book. I read the first cover, of course, was a cover by. There was a beautiful woman on the cover, and so it sucked you in. And of course, it's wasn't Inickly. I think it was. I can't remember the artist's name, but it's the typical artist that you love. They had a great foil cover of it, and I was like, oh, I've got to pick up the foil. And so I picked up the foil and I read the next issue, and it was pretty good. So, and it's also Joshua Williamson, the same person who's writing Superman. So another really great book. Joshua Williamson writes the whole DC universe is a great idea. He's a great writer. I love his Dark Ride series. I really enjoyed his I can't remember the Nightmare and a Nightmare and the horror book kind of he did for DC, which was awesome too. He is just a phenomenal writer, and it catches you off guard every time. Anyway, so that is all the new comics I got. And I was really hoping we'd get to have a discussion, but maybe another time. But the comics I love discussion really comes back to, if you really are looking for some good comics to be reading, I'm going to go ahead and switch back to my main screen here now. So going back to this, the comics I love. I mentioned that I had fallen out of love with Amazing Spider-Man, and that happens. And so within that, I kind of dumped most of the 616 universe, Marvel universe, if that's what they're calling it anymore. Comic books that were related to Spider-Man. So Spider-Man, Miles, Spectacular Spider-Man. I kept Spider-Boy because I'm really enjoying the story. The story's good. Same with Superior Spider-Man, but I think this issue that we saw the cover of that just came out is the last one, and I'm actually, that's the next comic I need to read out of that series. So same with Spider-Boy. I'm like 7 issues behind in Amazing because they just come out so often, and I'm about the same. I'm about 4 issues behind in Miles. The Gang War storyline just dragged. It was a drag. It was hard to follow, hard to stay in. And hey there, Holly, how you doing, man? Yeah, you got here. That's totally fine. I'm welcome in, and I'm happy you're here. It's great to see you. I was just going to actually move into more of the talk about the comics we love and portion of this. So if you want to jump on, you're more than welcome to. But if you're working, again, you can't. I totally understand that too. Yeah, I'm doing really good. So this portion, I guess, of the show, I'm going to talk to you guys about the Ultimate Universe. If you can pick it up, you pick it up in the trade. There's some trades out there already for you. Go get them. go to your local comic shop. If you don't have a local comic shop, hit me up. I can help you find them, or I can tell you some people that are good sellers and buyers you can go to. Hall is a good resource too. So so is Richard and Bigby. So I mean, all the people who've been in today. So any of you get that chance, but the Ultimate series of comic books. This series written by Jonathan Hickman has been phenomenal. It's been really good, and it has really it's just been a breath of fresh air for the Marvel universe. I really actually like this. I like this idea where we're not stuck to your typical universe where, okay, hey, and they actually look at the 616 universe as kind of like the model. Oh my gosh, they have all these heroes and we don't have any, and there's all these bad guys and no heroes, and then Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, kind of being the start of this. Which, if you really look at it, you have Black Panther was already a hero in the universe, and he never really kind of went away. So, but needless to say, but this Ultimate Spider-Man universe, if you can get a hold of the books and start reading it, you're gonna be blown away. If you read the Ultimate Universe stuff that leads into it, Ultimate Invasion, and then Ultimates, and then Ultimate Spider-Man, kind of how it really kind of rolled out. It's a great story. It's so good, so interconnected, so vibrant. And what's interesting is, so it's interconnected in the sense that it's all in the same world, but the Black Panther storyline, you can feel that it's there in the universe, but it's totally separate in the sense of how the story is. I mean, there's probably going to be some tie-ins in the future, I'm sure, but in this point in time, it's based in Africa, and it's really good. It's not just Wakanda either. I mean, they've kind of opened the door to some ideas within it where they have some counterbalance of the character of the Black Panther to within the realm of Africa itself, and I think that's really cool too. Then you also have Ultimate X-Men. Now, I mean, Ultimate X-Men. This is the most. I would say this is the most. Not innovative isn't the right word I'm looking for. This is the one that's kind of the out there book, right? What's interesting about it is it's like you have this young idea of that, and yeah, actually, you know what? And it's great because it's such a weird, interesting tale, and it's coming from the mind of Peach Momoko, or Momoko, or however you say her name. So I apologize if I totally messed up. But anyway, Peach's stories, it reminds me of the stuff that she did early on in her career, and the stuff that I saw that came in the little Japanese style trades that came out when she first was doing it. I think I got them way back when Brian used to own his shop years and years ago. Anyway, great stuff. This is really cool, and she's introducing some characters that have now translated over into the Marvel universe because they've been so into the main universe because they were so well received. Like the Spark gal, who's basically controls lightning, and in that universe, and you're like, well, but there's a Storm, and now there's Spark, and we find this character Spark, and it was really cool. Yeah, you know what? I read X-Men #1. And I'll tell you, Holly, man, that book was right on. It was a really good. Let's have a starting point. Let's not give you all the information, and we'll have a really great splash page ending. And I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. I was like, okay, hey, we got something new going on here, and it feels new. It feels fresh. And I think Jen McKay is going to do a really good job, and I can't wait to see it because I'll tell you, the art. Well, if you like Stegman, it's phenomenal Stegman work, and the inker who he works with all the time is the inker, and the colorist blew me away. I mean, there are just things that I want to emulate as a colorist, as an artist, were in that piece, and so it was good. So pick up X-Men #1 if you're reading any of the X-Men stuff, you want to definitely do that. So the final book, though, Ultimates, of the Ultimate Universe stuff, is I'm it was a little bit, it was a catch up because at the end of Ultimates, the tower explodes and we think, we get this kind of, whoa, are they dead? Are they not dead? What's going to happen next? We get Ultimates. I'm not going to give any more spoilers about it, but we kind of get this idea of what happens next, and kind of how they go about doing the things that we see happening in the modern world. And I think that's a pretty awesome story. Other stories that you guys should be buying. I'm of course I'm liking what's going on with the X-Men stuff. It's new and it's refreshing, and I'm kind of looking forward to a couple other books that are coming out. I think Sentinels is going to be a good book. I think I'm going to see what that one's going to be about. Of course, I'm really happy that there's an Uncanny X-Men title again, because man, that's my book, right? That's the book that you want to have, and they're going to have a really great cast in that. You got Rogue, you got Gambit, you got Wolverine, you got Jubilee, you've got who was the other one? There's one more too. I can't remember who the last one is, but great cast of characters, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that book comes together. And then you got of course, then you've got the odd title with Kitty Pryde and Emma Frost, which it wasn't extraordinary X-Men, excellent X-Men. I can't remember. I'm not interested. Although that one it looks interesting. I'm just not interested. I want it looks, and it's not because it's like an all-girl book. It's because I really feel like they ruined Kitty Pryde during the last universe thing, and I really would struggle to see her come back. I was hoping if we got Kitty Pryde, she'd be an Uncanny, part of that whole storyline with Wolverine. But I think it would have overshadowed Jubilee, because Jubilee was the new Kitty Pryde, quite honestly. So anyway, going back. Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. But yeah, definitely cool stuff out there. And I think NYX, which has that young vibe, has all the characters who are the young kind of mutant characters, which is interesting. Kind of a mix of Runaways in this, and that's where we see Spark crossing over into the new universe, which looks interesting. I hope that goes well, and goes into what we hope to see. And another thing that I think is really another series that you guys really should be getting into, or if you're not into it already, is the Energon universe. I mean, Dynamite, owner of Dynamite. I don't know if you saw him on Bronze and Bigby's Best Coast show the other night. He came on and he's like, and one moment in time when they're talking, he was like, people are doing it right. Skybound is doing it right. They are awesome. And he was like, I even commented on how well they're doing, and that got so much play with Hasbro. Hasbro's like, we're going to do a card series with Dynamite, a new card series with Dynamite, which is cool. I mean, that's awesome, right? So, anyway, so itchy ear. So the other thing I wanted to kind of share going into the Skybound stuff, right? And specifically, I mean, Skybound's doing some pretty cool stuff with monsters, right? They're doing the monster storylines. Right now, I think they're doing the Creature from the Black Lagoon. They did Dracula, and Dracula was pretty popular. But what's really cool is this Energon universe. I mean, I mentioned it. It's like I read it when it comes out. It's like a book that I look forward to. In fact, I look forward to it so much. So, like 2 books that my daughter and I are reading. My oldest, if you check out the Transformers, the Starscream video in my go to my stream of YouTube stuff and check out the Starscream video. Or if you're on my Instagram, please check out it on Instagram and follow me in both places. It's always good to do that. In fact, if you see anybody that you're on the stream with, like and follow them all. So Energon universe. I mean, Void Rivals, great book. New and unique take of the Energon universe, where we get to see the characters that were kind of in the movie and that were different characters in species in space. You have from the Transformers movie, if you're wondering what I mean, like the animated movie in 1985. Then you also have, of course, G.I. Joe, Real American Hero. They've got Larry Hama. continuing the story that he was writing for IDW, and it's a really great story too. And that's an interesting kind of continuation of the story. I speculated that that GI Joe story is in the future, and that what we're seeing in the Energon universe is the past. But they've just recently dispelled that. So the Larry Hama story is in itself its own universe and storyline. So we might see Transformers in there. We saw Transformers in there before. So we might get some back in there, and it might be a crossover. And you know what's interesting? Within the whole realm of G.I. Joe and Transformers, they've been in several stories together. I mean, the G.I. Joe European Missions storylines also have a Transformers backup story in each one of them. And sometimes they cross over into G.I. Joe and Transformers realm. So that's a lot of fun, and that's pretty cool. Well, so speaking of Transformers, though, the Transformers story is freaking awesome, and my dog's going nuts, so I'm probably going to wrap up here anyway. So, but the just what's really cool here is, you guys, all the stories are great. Duke, Cobra Commander, Destro, Scarlet, Transformers, Void Rivals, excellent group of stories. If you're not reading them, pick them up. You can get them. And if you need them and you can't get them from an LCS, contact me. I can get you a copy of almost everything. I have multiples of all those books. And so I can get those for you as well. And you know, and you can, I put stuff up on eBay. I put stuff up on Whatnot. I put stuff up on Instagram. But if you're just needing the issue and you don't got any dough and you want to pick up like, hey, I really would like to read Scarlet #1, I'll get it to you. So, but you guys have a fantastic day. This was the comics I love. And when we sometimes talk about the comics we love, we have to talk about the comics that we've fallen out of love with, like Amazing Spider-Man. So thanks a bunch. Thanks for watching my new Comic Day special today. And maybe next week we'll have some more, and we'll have some more people to chat with, and we can talk together. So on that note, you guys have a fantastic day and have a wonderful, wonderful week. We will talk to you later. I think maybe. Hang on. All right. Well, here we go. See you all later.